You are listening to an episode of the Pour Over podcast. God may be writing your story, but the chapters in between can be messy and hard to figure out. This podcast is a place for listeners to be encouraged, built up, and poured into so we can go out and pour into others. We discuss real topics that Christians face in their everyday lives, from foundations of faith to just figuring it out. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get into it. Hello. Welcome back to the Pour Over podcast. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining and for clicking on this episode. I hope that you love it, and I hope that this episode is an encouragement to you. Like I said in the introduction, this podcast is a place for believers to be encouraged, built up, and poured into their faith so they can go out and pour into others as well. So welcome to the podcast community. I'm glad you're here. If you are a returning member of the Pop Fam and you are a loyal listener, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode. It did, of course, only feel fitting for us to have a very important conversation on love this week. When this episode comes out, it will be the week of Valentine's Day. So, Valentine's Day is on the Saturday. This is coming out on a Tuesday, but with this holiday coming up, love is really all around us. And it's, of course, in every part of our lives as believers. And the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. That's in Matthew. I actually was just reading through that this morning, which was really cool. And so over and over again, we're commanded not just to love the Lord, but to love others as well and to love others like Christ loves us. So love is incredibly crucial to our lives as Christians. But there are so many different kinds of love, and sometimes really actively loving others can be a challenge. And, when you step into your faith, you're kind of like, wait, what does that look like as a believer? How do I love people intentionally like Christ loves us, since that is our commandment? And so today, we are discussing 4 different kinds of love. We are going to talk about loving God, loving people, loving a significant other, and loving ourselves. Now, I am not the love expert by any means, and so I wanted to bring someone onto the podcast that loves others so well that could bring a lot of wisdom and experience to this conversation. So we have a guest today, and it is someone who loves others so well. I love this person very dearly. She's a great friend of mine and someone that I look up to a lot. And I know you are going to love her just as much as I do. So, Pop Fam, please welcome Miss Miranda Lerma.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
You're here.
It's super exciting.
This is so exciting. This has been like a month in the making now. We've been talking about this, and it's so cool. When I was thinking about this episode, I was like, I really want to do something like niche to Valentine's Day, which is very common in the podcast world. A lot of people are going to be talking about love right now because Valentine's Day is coming up. But I wanted to come at it not just from the perspective of how to love your boyfriend right or how to love your girlfriend right. Not that those things are not important, and we will be discussing romantic love today, but I wanted to come at it from all different kinds of love that we are commanded to be intentional about as believers. Like I said in the intro, like love is in every bit of our lives. It's what makes up our faith, and it's what connects us to the Lord is His love for us. And so I was like, well, I want to do an episode on just all the different kinds of love, just loving people well. And naturally, I was like, well, I have to have Miranda on the podcast. So thank you for being here.
Of course.
Now, on every episode with a guest, I do ask them to share a recent win in their lives. So it could be something, I know I didn't prepare you for this. It could be something in your work life, personal life. It could be just something about this morning. What would be a recent win?
I have a lot. I mean, I think in everyday life there's a win. So that's I don't know if there's, like, just one really big one.
Yeah.
I don't know, I love my life right now in terms of work, like, I think my work environment, it's been super wonderful, super healthy, and I do feel like my team is just really growing me in the sense of, like, this is what I think just awakening that passion I have for what I do has been
Mhm.
super exciting. I don't know, I think that's a big win for me.
Yeah.
It's just my work environment, my coworkers, my day-to-day life has been great. The gym, all that good
Yay.
stuff, the gains,
Get those gains, girl.
that's just super empowering, but also
Mhm.
super uplifting and encouraging for me just to see growth in my personal life, growth in, my work life, and even in my marriage, we always have good times, we always have fun.
Yeah. Can you share for the podcast what your position is at work?
So, I work at our church. I
Yeah.
work at a church, Church for the City.
Mhm.
I'm the guest services director right now.
You're so cool.
Um I've been working in this area for since 2020. Yes, 2020,
Mhm.
August. This last year was when I got, I guess, promoted
Mhm.
to director.
Yeah.
I was the admin for a long time and I loved it. So it was a lot of years of just honing in and building what we have, and then now just being able to lead that, it's been super wonderful.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I do want to start off by talking about our love for the Lord because that, before we get into anything else, that really flows into everything that we do, including loving others, loving ourselves, romantic love. So, can you talk a little bit about how you came to know the Lord?
I was incredibly fortunate when it comes to this. I grew up in a family that I was born into a church.
Mhm.
I'm sure that's a lot of people's story, but it's not everybody's. So I always knew the Lord existed. I did have times in my life though where really doubted, but I really didn't at the same time. Like I knew from a young age that I loved the Lord. I just didn't know that he loved me back. So I think
Mhm.
that was like the
Yeah.
biggest, obviously that's the biggest thing. I'd be praying to the Lord like, "Hey, if you're real, show me something."
Yeah.
But then finally, I mean, there was moments in my life where I did see he did, like, come at me with
Mhm.
truth and, like, "Hey, I do exist," type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was other times when I just had to really be in faith, and I think because of that, that has helped my faith as an adult.
Yeah.
Truly just waiting on the Lord?
Mhm.
So I think I really started diving into that when I was about 8th grade, freshman year. I really decided to live for him, and that was, like, when I was like, "You know what, Lord? I'm gonna die to myself." Like, I'm gonna die to myself, and the biggest step of that was for me, was to just honor my parents, which is the biggest struggle my whole life, like, "You know what, God? You called me to honor my parents, so this is, like, a heart decision," and that's
Yeah.
when I truly felt my heart shift for the Lord because I trusted him even though I didn't, like, fully trust myself in that?
Yeah.
So that's like I have never heard of a story like that in terms of I truly decide to live for the Lord when I decide to honor my parents, but at the same time, it's so much more special. I don't know, it's just really wonderful.
I love that. That's so real too, because a lot of times we think when we say yes to Jesus, it's all about our love for him, but it's so much more than that. It's
Yeah,
about choosing to honestly change your whole life
yeah,
and change your heart towards people. And that's where you can kind of start to see that
yeah.
transformation when you accept Jesus into your life is the way that your heart changes towards people
Oh,
as well.
oh, yeah, and I think part of me thinks that the Lord calls us to honor our parents, and that's what
Mhm.
it clearly says
Yeah.
that, honor
Yeah.
honor your father and your mother, but I started to realize, and don't get me wrong, there were definitely times when I still fought with them. I still had really hard times. I
Mhm.
had some really hard moments growing up when it came to, like, becoming an adult and, all that kinda
Yeah.
stuff, getting married but in my head, if I can honor my parents, I could honor anybody,
Ooh.
and because, I mean, they're, like, the hardest people,
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah, no,
not
that's
because
real.
like, they love me, they're really great parents, but it's just like the people you grew up with, you
Mhm.
know? If you can do that, then
Yeah.
I think there's a reason why he says it in the Bible. There must be a reason?
Yes. No, that is so true, and I actually I've never thought about it like that, but it's true. It's like the more comfortable you get with people,
Mhm.
the harder it can be to almost, like, take them seriously and to, like, like, guard yourself and, like, guard your words and, like,
Yeah.
the things that you do around them. Like, we were just having that conversation about, like, the things that we say around different
Yeah.
people, and so that is really real, and that is a challenge. Like, if you can love your parents and you can honor your parents, then you can do that with anybody,
Yeah.
and it's such a challenge too because our parents are they're put in that position to guide us and to kind of, like, tell us no sometimes,
Yeah.
and to parent us, to steward us, to guide us, and to lead us, and in no way, shape, or form is that always gonna mean that we like what we hear.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that is really real, and that has been, I think, a huge shift, which that I can really relate to is not that I ever was consistently disrespectful to my parents, but
Mhm.
honoring them
Mhm.
and honoring their words and even kind of honoring them as people,
Yeah.
honoring them as an individual,
Yeah.
kind of remembering like even when I think about my mom, because my dad and I don't really argue too much. I mean, we definitely have differences of opinion, but we kinda just, like we're both pretty stubborn, and we kind of insist that we're right, so we're just kinda like, "Okay, well, I think I'm right, you think you're right. Well, we're done with this conversation now because 'cause we're never gonna get anywhere." But my mom and I, like, I genuinely as much as I love her, I think, like, she and I just know how to get under each other's skin.
That's how it is.
Yes, and I know that's something that a lot of people relate to,
Yeah.
and so I feel like my heart towards my parents, especially my mom, shifted when I decided to honor her as an individual
Yeah. Yeah.
and to see her as an individual, not just as my mom, not just as the person who told me no sometimes or who I disagreed with, but as an individual. I honestly something I love that I've been seeing a lot in social media is like remembering that it's like your mom's first time living too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's so true. Like we forget that not even just our parents, but our family, our friends, like it's not about us.
Yeah.
It's like they are in our lives, but it's not about us.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. When would you say you decided to like ask Jesus into your heart? Like what age was that?
I think I would say it was about the same time because
Okay.
I knew he existed. I knew he loved me. I knew he
Mhm.
was there in the terms of like that's what he should do and that kind of stuff. And my mom would tell me like, "Hey, you got to fix your heart."
Oh,
Like you got to fix your heart.
dang.
And I did have a very bitter heart. I mean a little bit of backstory, there's 6 of us. I have 5 sisters, and,
6 girls.
I
Oh my
am number
gosh.
5, so I'm, like, at the bottom of the totem pole. I
Oh,
have 1 little sister.
oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so I had a lot of bitterness, a lot of resentment growing up, and it really made my heart hard.
Mhm.
And every night for months, if not years, I'd pray like, "God, please make me have a heart of flesh. Please make me have a
Mm.
heart of flesh."
Yeah.
And as much as I didn't like that my mom said, "Hey, you have a hard heart," I knew it was true.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, there was no harm in asking for help, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
even
That's
if
so
my mom
true.
was like even if I was like, "I don't feel like I have a hard heart," but I mean, in that I'm saying, like, I have a
Yeah.
hard heart.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have a hard heart, but there is something not right with me.
Yeah.
And it's not right within me, like, I
Mm.
I hurt inside, and I
Mm.
didn't know that's what it was, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, every night, I'd be like, "God, please give me a heart of flesh," like, just envisioning it like just a pumping heart full of blood,
Yep.
like, wonderful things,
Yeah.
and I feel like I have a heart of stone, truly, and, like, that type of stuff, and so in that time, I think it finally broke when it was like, "You have all these problems with your mom,
Mhm.
you need to honor them." It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you have to agree with everything that they say.
Right.
It just means you have to honor them.
Would you say that that is one of the ways that God has changed you most and, like, changed your everyday life the
Oh my
most
gosh,
is
yeah.
changing your heart?
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. And I think there's things that happen as an adult that I mean, I don't get me wrong, I'm still, like, figuring stuff out, but
Right.
I think because of that initial change, I have a different outlook on a lot of circumstances that happen as an adult, in
Oh.
terms of, like, forgiving people,
Mhm.
still working through family relationships and stuff like that. I think it if I can move on from that, I can move on from anything.
I love that. That's crazy to me too because to hear that, to kind of hear how you started with such, like, a hardened, bitter heart,
Yeah.
but it's crazy, and this is, of course, like, this is your testimony, this is all glory to God,
Yeah.
but I was thinking about it, I was like, "I don't think I've ever seen Miranda, like, mad." Like
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
but it's just crazy. I'm like and that is something I really admire about not just the way you lead, but the way that you genuinely approach each person and each
Mhm.
situation is it couldn't be like more opposite of bitter and hard and
Yeah.
cold. Like that's just so like when I think of you like you're just such a warm person. And so now to like see that I'm like you can cry if you want. We're probably going to cry at some point throughout this
Yeah.
episode. But now to kind of see that transition and see the fruit of that, because I didn't know you at that time,
Mhm.
I've only been able to see how the Lord has worked
Yeah.
through you and changed that in you.
Shoot, yeah.
So it's crazy that like you can look back on who you were, but together we can look back on who you are now
Yeah.
and see like how faithful God has been. And it's such a testament that you do really have to trust Jesus with your whole heart.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the biggest struggles um, in the sanctification process is letting the Lord have access to your full heart and not holding on to anything
Mhm.
and kind of identifying like I know I have this problem. I know I
Yeah.
have this hurt. I know I have this issue, but I have to give it all to Jesus.
Yeah. And what's gonna be a common thing I feel like that I will probably say several times
Mhm.
throughout this is it's more than just giving God your heart, it's asking the Lord to guard your heart.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a terrifying thing to do because you're giving somebody else reign to hurt you, to also make you strong. Like, it's just a whole lot of stuff that's happening
Yeah.
but you're really trusting somebody with your heart, which
Yeah.
is absolutely terrifying, but he will provide. He will give you exactly what you need in those seasons that if you ask him to guard your heart, he will.
Yeah,
And it will be
absolutely.
kind of sad, it'll be scary, I mean, there's gonna be times when you lose relationships and you lose
Mm.
friends, and
Yeah.
you're just gonna have to trust him that he's doing what's right for you, like, "I'm asking you to guard my heart, and you're showing me," you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Now I will say that it's pretty easy to love God
Mhm.
full-heartedly when, you're in, like, a great season of your life and
Oh, yeah.
everything's going well, but it's a lot harder to love Him and to trust Him when you're in that valley and when you're in that low place. So, what would you say kind of maintains your love for the Lord in the midst of fear and pain and disappointment? What keeps that love for Him going?
Just the fruit of what he's done already. I
That's good.
mean, there's only one constant. There really is only one constant, and it's
Mhm.
that he's a good father and he's a good God. And I don't think that's ever been a I'm, like, very, very blessed to say that that hasn't ever been no, I don't know if I should say ever, but as of lately in any of the mountaintop moments, I think there's times when I get frustrated or, like, "What are you doing with me?"
Mhm.
or "What is my future?" type of stuff,
Yeah.
like, basic questions that we all ask,
Yeah.
but I know that in all things that there's a plan, and even if I have to be reminded of it from a friend or even from just the Lord,
Yeah.
I just know that He's a good God who loves me truly,
Mm.
and it's easier said than done. Sometimes I just really have to sit still and realize that, you
Yes.
know?
That is so good. I do think that a big part of just your walk with Christ as a believer is knowing that when you're in those valleys, it's so crucial that you look back on what he's already done because if you
Yeah,
don't reflect on what he's already done for you,
yeah,
even and it doesn't have to be like, "Oh, he did this for me last week so I can give praise." I mean, yes, but
yeah,
even just finding that joy in your salvation itself, that is something that we can reflect on, and that is something that we can find joy in, is knowing that, "You know what? Yeah, right now, I'm struggling, and this is frustrating, and I didn't wanna be in this position, but the fact that the Lord loves me enough to die for me, and
mhm,
to take joy in me, and to pursue a relationship with me, I mean, that is already a
yeah,
reason for me to praise him." And I do think that you do have to just kind of, like you said, sit still,
mhm,
and that's been something I've personally been kind of learning how to do it and navigate, and it's crazy because, right now my season is, like, so busy and so full
yeah,
and there's so much going on, and I'm finding these little pockets of time to just be still, which
yeah,
I've never been intentional about that before, and it's so beautiful,
Yeah.
and it's some of the most precious moments with the Lord is just being still and
Yeah.
just and not even just physically still, but letting your heart and mind be still, you know, and kind of taking that next step to really quiet down the environment around you
Mhm.
to just sit and be with him. So,
Yeah, and I'm really not very good at that. Even when I get home, I'm doing something the whole time,
mm,
and when I'm not, I'm probably watching TV, doing
yeah,
that type of stuff,
yeah,
but I will say a big thing for me is a day by day thing. I really try my best not to think of the future. I mean, in terms of, like, "What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna
mhm,
do?" Instead of, like, dreaming and stuff. I mean, I just went if you ask Chris about it, I mean, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I spiraled because I was thinking, like, "We're not doing enough." Like,
mm,
it's good to dream, but I think I was really letting it get ahead of me in terms of, like, "What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Are we gonna live here forever? Can we get another dog? Can we do this? Can we do that?" Type of
yeah,
thing. What immediately came to my mind was, Lamentations 3:22 through 23. "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases, his
mm,
mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning, great is your faithfulness." And it's so, so true that there's just gonna be days when, "God, give me your grace for today." Like, just give me
yes,
the grace for today,
yeah,
because that's all you can do.
mm,
I mean, truly, you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
right,
You don't know,
yeah,
it could be the best day, like, especially for me, I'm a planner through and
mm,
through. I love lists, I love calendars.
yep,
I have plans for the next day, I have plans for the next day. I have plans for the weekend, type of
mhm,
stuff, and there are times when I'm like, I have a whole plan for my Friday, I'm not working, and I wake up late, and I miss 2 of the things on my list,
oh,
like,
yeah,
my whole morning is ruined.
yeah, like, "That's it, I'm going
That's it.
back to bed."
Might as well just give up now,
Yep,
like,
yeah.
but that kinda stuff, but truly, his grace and his mercies are just new every single morning, but
I love that. That's something that I hold on to a lot is just asking God for his grace for today because I'm very much the same way and I am a planner. I mean, my Google Calendar, my notes app literally gives people like coronaries when they see it. They're like their eyes get big, their jaws like drop. They have like visceral reactions
and
to my
I mean,
calendar.
you've been like that since you were young.
Yes, no, I came out of high school like that.
Came out the
I
womb
really did. No, I really, really
calendar in your
I
hand.
basically did. I was like, "I'm here for Google Calendar." Like, Google Calendar was made for me, I think. No, that's really how I am. Like, I genuinely and I was just talking to someone else about this, like, how there's not a single second of my day that is not accounted for,
Yeah,
which that sounds crazy to some people, but that's
but get
that's
it.
that's how I function well, and
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but I would say I'm very much like a type C person, you know? Like,
yeah,
I'm not type A where if something happens and, like, I have to rearrange my schedule, I'm having, like, a mental breakdown, like, I'm fine, I'm not, like, a psychopath, but I'm also not
sometimes.
well, as long as it doesn't throw the rest of my week
Yeah,
No, but I'm not type A where it bothers me so much and, like, I can't move past it,
yeah,
but clearly I'm not type B, and so I would say I'm definitely more type C where I'm flexible, but I'm flexible as long as there's some sort of plan in place. But I do find that there are some days where I'm just thrown off and I'm just not feeling it, and you really do have to ask the Lord, "Lord, just give me grace for today."
yeah.
And the crazy thing and which is not crazy if, like, you know the Lord and you I don't know, there's some stuff where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, God's so amazing," but I'm like, "Yeah, duh, obviously he's amazing." But it's always a blessing and, like, a sweet surprise to me when I ask the Lord for grace for today, and that day actually ends up going so much better than I anticipated,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh my."
God,
Like, I really I'm like, "Wait, he's so faithful." Like, he's like, "Okay." Like,
and he's kind.
it's that easy.
Yeah.
Like, it really is that easy. Like, you ask the Lord, "Lord, please just give me grace for today." And he's like, "Here you go. I love you." Like you said, he's a loving father. So, it's so cool how we can go to our Father and just be honest and be real, and he meets us in our needs. So, I do want to kind of talking about meeting needs, I do wanna talk about loving others. You work in a job that you come into contact with a lot of people and very, very different kinds of people. You never really know in your position who you're going to meet and who you're going to talk to, what situation you're going to face. So, how do you navigate identifying and tending to each person's individual needs in a specific situation? Because I feel like when I watch you in your role, that's something I think you do very well. So, I don't know if you're like, I don't know, it just comes naturally, or if there's like a process, if there's like a way you learned that.
I would say a big part of that does stem from my childhood in terms of, like, I think everybody deserves to feel seen.
Mm,
Whatever that looks like
mhm.
in their season, whatever if that's a great big love and very flashy showy, or if it's just like, "Hey, good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad you're here today." And they might not be told that all the time. That's just my job. Like,
Mhm.
in terms of, like, job work-wise, but also job what I feel called to do. I don't know, I feel like that's probably the biggest thing. I do feel like every person needs to know they're seen by Christ, and as we are the body of Christ, like,
Yeah.
that's really what I'm supposed to be doing, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that's not everybody's strength in terms of, like, they don't feel called for that. Maybe they feel called for something else, which is
Mhm.
something I can't do, you know?
Right.
I'm not gonna jump on the worship team, like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be called to for that,
Yeah.
everything. Or kids, like, I
Mhm.
love them, but
Yep.
my job is truly making sure everybody feels the presence of the Lord as they walk in, which is kind and welcoming
Mhm.
and all that kinda stuff, but I don't know, I feel like it's just really wonderful. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered that well.
No, no, you did. It was good, and it kind of helps that you talked about your childhood because that's actually kind of where I wanna segue.
Uh-huh.
So you said that you have 5 sisters.
Mhm.
So you have 4 older ones and 1 younger one.
Yes, yep.
That's a lot. So your youngest sister is how old?
20 years old. She's gonna
Tw
be 21 in July.
okay, so she's gonna be 21. Your oldest sister is how old?
So she should be 38? There's an 18-year gap from the oldest to the
Oh
youngest.
my gosh. How did I not know this?
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty wild.
you have a sister that's, like, the same age as, like, some of your bosses.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
but also, we're still very much the same in terms of, like, my oldest sister and I look the most alike, I feel like.
Oh, that's
We've been
cool.
told that my whole life, and there has been times when they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you" maybe twice, like, "Are you guys twins?"
Oh, that's
And I'm like, "Yeah, how do you
cute.
feel about that?" Like,
Yeah.
you're 12 years older than me, how do you feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah,
She's
that's
we
true.
we love it though.
Yeah.
It's really cool. She looks young and,
Mhm.
um, young spirit and everything like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's really fun.
So, between all of that, some of your sisters have kids, some of them are in a season of, like, wedding planning, newlywed life, and I know that you guys all have your own lives going
Mhm,
on. But I do wanna kind of touch on how growing up with that dynamic has taught you to be intentional, because you kind of touched on how you learned that from your childhood,
mhm.
and I'm sure, you have a relationship with each of your sisters as an individual. So how has growing up in that dynamic of all those girls kind of taught you to maintain intentional relationships with people?
You know, it might not be what you think.
Okay.
Um, I wasn't close with them.
Really?
Not not really.
Mhm.
Not at all.
She's like, "I don't even know my sisters."
I would say I was the annoying little sister for a really long time, and I didn't really have, like, a buddy to be with, like, the
Mm,
sisters kind of went off in pairs, so it was, like, the oldest 2, then there was a 4-year gap, and then the other 2,
mm.
and then the one older than me, she's 2.5 years older than me, so she, gravitated up, you
Okay,
know?
yeah.
So
Yeah, that makes
she
sense.
was closer to sister number 3, um, and then obviously sisters 1 and 2 were together, and then Sienna wasn't born until she's 6.5 years younger than me.
Oh, wow.
So, I had a lot of, like, solitude growing
Mm.
up. I wasn't close like, I had to ask my mom to, like, "Hey, mom, can you make them play with me?"
Aw.
She'd have to put a timer on, and we always played longer than the timer. It always ended
Yeah,
up being well, but
yeah.
I think for them just to, like, play with a little annoying little sister was, like, taxing, you
Mhm.
know?
Yep.
But I didn't know anything else different. I was homeschooled, so I didn't have, like, a whole lot of friends growing up in terms
Mm.
of, like, amount,
Were you all homeschooled?
No. So I was the only one who was homeschooled from the beginning to the end.
Oh,
I
okay.
did go to college, but my oldest sister went only to school, She
Okay.
went to public and private, and then second oldest started homeschooling when she was a sophomore. Third started homeschooling when she was in 4th grade, I believe. And then I that was when I was, kindergarten, so then I started doing school, and then sister number 4 it's a lot, but sister number 4 started, homeschooling after 2nd grade, I believe, and then Sienna homeschooled into which is my little sister, she
Mhm.
started homeschooling she homeschooled, and then she started going to high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was the only one who was homeschooled, through and through, but I did get some friends through that. We had, my childhood best friend was, also homeschooled, and we hung out, we went to church together and,
Yeah.
still close to her to this day, shout out, and then, stuff like that. So I did have good friends from, like, church and stuff, but
Yeah.
it was more like a one friend type of thing, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
So, I think in terms of closeness and everything, like, I didn't start really becoming close with my sisters until I was about a freshman in high school, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I did really love to hang out with my second oldest sister. She's very peaceful,
Mm.
very kind to me, but she is 10 years older than me, so
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
big difference. Like, sometimes I'll just go in her room while she's doing homework. She was studying to be a, biologist type of stuff, and,
Yeah.
I would just lay on her floor and watch TV, quality time type of stuff, and then my sister number 3, which I used to fight viciously with, viciously,
Really?
she and I got really close, and we kind of just apologized to each other, like,
Oh.
apologized to each other for how horrible we were, and I would say that was about freshman, sophomore year. She started really caring about me as a person and seeing me as a human.
Oh.
It's
Not the
like
annoying little sister, but like an actual human being. Yeah, with feelings.
and, I think things just started going uphill from there. I started growing a brain, and,
Yeah.
that really helped.
Thank
Um
God for the brain.
But yeah, but we weren't I mean, you guys might see pictures of us and we're really close,
Mhm.
and that's just like the outside perspective. We've had a lot of weird ups and downs, a lot of fights, big ones, small ones, and
Mhm.
even as adults, and but it ultimately comes down to the fact that we love each other and, we really want each other's best interests like, we have them at
Yeah.
heart, you know? But yeah, that didn't I wasn't even close to some of them until, like, a couple years ago in
Mhm.
terms of I think as we've all got become adults, which now we officially are. My little
Yeah.
sister is married, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, it's been different, but at the same time, we still have to know that, we're all humans and stuff.
Yeah. What sister do you think are you closest to right now?
I think that's hard. I think there's, like, different seasons.
Mhm.
I have sisters that are more similar to me in terms of, like, outgoing, and then I have some
Yeah.
sisters that are a little quieter, you know?
Mhm.
Um, Sienna is, my younger sister is the closest to me in proximity, and we are pretty close, actually.
Right.
I used to be really mean to her too. We were pretty
I've heard some
horrible.
stories.
Yeah, we were pretty horrible to each other. She bit me all the time.
Oh.
But, she and I are pretty close now,
Mhm.
and then also she's the only one who lives in our where we live, and all the rest don't live here. So
Okay.
but then also, like, we go to Phoenix a lot, we visit them there, and
Mhm.
I don't know if I can even really say because I think, in different situations I mean, my sister Rio and I are very close,
Mhm.
and we have been. She's the sister number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know
The one that you used to fight a lot. Oh, that's so cool.
that's why,
Yeah,
because we hashed out a lot of that kind of,
that's
you
true.
know, inner hatred
Yeah.
for each other. So maybe that's why, I don't know, but, she and I are really close, but I'm close to all of them, just, maybe a little bit less in different seasons.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And it kind of sounds like from your stories with all of them, I feel like it took time, which is I mean that's just true of your relationships with people is it a good friendship and a good love for someone, it sometimes takes time, and especially, it can be hard because people come in and out of your life in different seasons, but when you're really investing in, like, a long-term relationship with someone,
Yeah,
whether that's romantic, family, or even just someone that you know is gonna be, like, your sister or your friend for life, that you're gonna have those arguments,
yeah,
and you're gonna have your seasons where, you're not talking and you're not spending a lot of time together, and then something happens and it's just like overnight, it just really is
yeah,
is time, and I think that's also a little bit of kind of like a reflection of our walk with Christ. I think sometimes we forget that when we say yes to Jesus, that's for eternity. And so it's not like Jesus is like, "Hey, we're best friends. Now you have to know how to read your word perfectly off the bat, and you have to go to church every Sunday for the rest of your life, and you have to always be on fire for me until you die." Like that's it's a working relation and he's yeah. Yeah, it does. Like, he really is, like, your BFF, but, like, forever, like, never ending. And I think we put this kind of, like, pressure on ourselves in our walk to, like, have it all figured out, but we're still human, and that is going to take time, and we're gonna have our ups and downs, and it's normal to have ups and downs with people. I mean, we're just people. We're just people, and we have differences of opinion and different outlooks on and just even just little things sometimes it's just like, "Oh, well, I don't like this." "Well, I do." And then it's just I mean, it's natural to disagree with someone, but I think I think something that I can kind of get from your story with your sisters is, like you said, like, when it comes down to it, we're committed to loving each
Yeah,
other.
exactly, and I think there's been a lot of times when it would be easier just to not I think that's a big thing. It would
Mhm.
be easier just to not wanna pursue a relationship with them,
Mhm.
and I take for granted that we are close.
Yeah.
I realize that not a lot of people, have siblings
Mhm.
or, like, that or even are close to the siblings they have, like,
Mhm.
and that kinda breaks my heart because I know that I'm super fortunate enough to where I know that all of my sisters truly care about me, and at the end of the day, like, we care about each other deeply, and
Yeah.
as rough and as hard as that can be and whatever that looks like. But yeah, I mean, we're all pretty similar, but also vastly different. And
Yes.
some of my one of my sister's husbands said, "All together, we have one brain cell."
Oh.
Like, we're all kind of different, but at the same time, like,
Yeah.
we work pretty well more together.
Yeah.
Just enough.
Yep, yeah. I love that. I think it's really cool that you are honest about the realities of your relationship with them. It can be hard, and even in your relationships with people,
Yeah.
there's ups and downs, and when we talk about loving people, we really wanna highlight a healthy love, right? Not a toxic love, but, like, having a healthy, good love for people, and part of that does mean, you're gonna have disagreements, and that includes
Yeah.
boundaries
Yeah.
as well with people that you might need to take a step back from a little bit. And so if you don't mind, and you don't have to share names if you're not comfortable, but maybe talk about a time where you had to really put boundaries in place with someone that you cared about and kind of what the result of that was.
This is a hard question for
Yeah.
me. That's something I'm still navigating through.
Yeah.
I think really ultimately it comes down to how I'm guarding my heart
Yeah.
with the Lord.
Mhm.
There are some things that just really bother me in terms of like when having a relationship with anybody, it doesn't matter how close you are to them. You will eventually get irritated at some point. Like
Yeah.
it's just
No, you will.
we're humans,
Uh-huh.
But how are we guarding our hearts through that season? A big thing for me is at least I try just a healthy confrontation. That's not always the case, but I would say 97% of the time it is. If
Mhm.
it gets to that point where I am really, I guess, like not upset, but like irritated or whatever it is, I'll either take a step back because like in every relationship, you should be really guarding your heart in that, and like
Yeah.
you can't jump into it like, and that's something I didn't realize until I was older. Unfortunately, that like we aren't meant to have like covenant relationships with everybody.
That's good. Yeah.
And I had to learn that the hard way because my childhood best friend got married, and I was like, "You know what? Good for her." Like,
Mhm.
you and I aren't married and we're friends,
Yeah.
You can't expect that from somebody.
Mhm.
And I had to learn that in a way that was very beautiful. I got to see that from the outside and like witness their marriage flourish, which it's so easy to latch on to somebody and
Mm.
just not let go. Like you
Yeah.
and I are like meant to be joined at the hip forever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
but then at that same point, you're putting an unfair expectation on somebody.
Yeah.
I feel like having a boundary with yourself is even super
Oh,
important.
that's really good.
What you expect yourself to do in certain friendships, relationships, type of stuff is having that boundary with yourself. Or whatever you let people walk over all over you for
Mhm.
will ultimately come down to you.
That's true.
It sucks.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
At the same time, how much like, I don't wanna say, like, how much respect you have for yourself, like, I don't know, I don't wanna say it like that, but
But what are you willing to
yes.
what are you letting cross your own personal boundaries that you know you have?
Mhm.
What are you because it really like you said, it does come down to you,
Yeah,
and you have to like, no one is going to step up and put that boundary in place and enforce it,
like
eh,
you will.
like you will.
Yeah,
So you have to do it.
yeah, and I think, there's a kind of an epidemic of, like, I'll just cut them off.
Yeah,
I'll just cut them off. They're not healthy for me, I'll just cut them off. That's not always the right decision.
right.
You're quitting when it gets hard.
Mhm.
And do you wanna quit every time it gets hard? Like,
Yeah.
that's not what friendship is, that's not what
That's
relationship
not what
is.
life
That's
is.
not what life is. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, a big part of that is just truly, like, kind of nipping it in the bud, like, in terms of, like, if it's something you want to if it's with somebody you wanna continue growing with, if it's with a good friend, or
Mhm.
even if it's somebody you don't wanna keep growing with,
Yeah.
like, how are you going to confront them in that?
Mm.
Are you going to, like what I try to do, and it's helped me every time I ask the Lord for help, he helps me, which is
Yep.
actually shocking,
Yeah.
but,
Like I said, ask, you'll receive. It's like
it's crazy. He
it's
answers.
almost like he's God.
But, every time I ask him, like, "Lord, give me the words for this conversation.
Mm,
Help me navigate through this situation. I don't like this. I feel icky inside," whatever. Every time he's answered, he's opened a window with a certain person.
wow.
Sometimes it'll even be like they bring it up first, which is like, "Oh, for the
Oh,
grace of God,"
yeah.
That's so important for me,
Mm,
because if I don't have, like, that grace upon me, I will act in the flesh, and it's ugly,
yeah. Mhm.
Um, and sometimes, it's gonna happen where they might not respond to something in the way that you would like them to. Just continually asking, like, "Help me, Lord, help me, Lord,"
Yeah.
type of thing, like, we do need to do that,
Mhm.
and I think it goes back to the, like, new mercies every day, "Lord, help me please with this?"
Yeah. No, it really, really
But
does.
I think there's a big part of me is that I'm not a quitter, but you are either, like, you get it, like, you wanna push
Yeah.
through till something's finished?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I know. When people are like, "Oh, I'll just quit." I'm like, "Why?" Like,
And
but
that's, like, in everything that's at the gym, that's, like, in
yeah.
everything, like,
Yeah,
you're not gonna
absolutely.
quit until you're done,
Mhm.
And if you can finish something, and I mean, I'm gonna do a little bunny trail from here, but, like, it's like when you're doing really heavy weights, or if you're doing something that's really taxing on your mind, or, whatever that is, if you can complete this, you can complete anything, and that's kind of what
Yes.
I think about a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. If I can get through this conversation, I can get through anything. If I can
Yeah.
get through this working set, I can go through anything type of
Right.
thing, or this hard season. If I can get through this hard season, I can
Mhm.
get through anything. But I think I don't know if that helped with that question or not, but
No,
that's truly
absolutely.
how I view that boundaries, and that is something I'm still navigating through. I think I'm gonna be learning how to do that the rest of my life, but I don't know, I just really try and think of, like, is this what I want for myself? And also just having, like, healthy accountability, healthy,
That's
um,
really important.
mentorship to where, like,
Mhm.
I can ask somebody if it's really stumping me,
Mm.
and it's not gonna turn into some sort of gossip fest, or,
Right.
that type of
Very
thing.
important.
But
I think that's all really good. I really like how you talked about, yes, having the accountability and everything, but like you said, there is an epidemic of people being willing to just cut people off. And the thing that blows my mind is and I'm seeing it now, especially with the youth. And you still have, your students that are, they're, I guess, kind of adults now,
they're old.
but they're, I mean, they're still young and they're
Yeah.
coming out of high school. What I'm seeing a lot with my students that are in high school is the blocking and unblocking. And I'm like, I don't even get that.
Yeah.
But I know to them, when they're like, "Oh, I'll just block them," it's like, then I just don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But at the same
You'll
time,
see them at school all the
yeah, and it doesn't eliminate the problem, especially if you just
Oh, yeah.
if you just unblock them the next day, then what's the point? But it is true. I think that we need to be in general, we need to be more committed to sticking it out,
Yeah.
because if the Lord can stick it out with us
Yeah.
and give us chance after chance for the rest of our lives,
Yeah.
then why can we not stick it out with people? And that's not to say, like, if someone is really treating you badly and you've confronted them in a healthy way, that you have to stick around for that, but just not being quick to give up. And I think it's the quickness that people don't think, they don't reflect, they don't ask mentors, like you said, they just kind of react. And it even says, like, the Lord is slow to anger, and if that is the Lord's character, that's how our character should be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and you touched on a good point of that too, like, there's gonna be times when you do need to leave,
Mhm.
when you do need to, "You know what? This is not gonna be for me.
Yeah.
This is not edifying to the Lord." I
Mhm.
think that's, the number one thing, like, is this really putting me in a situation where I'm, like, giving up what I'm
Yeah.
working for, type of stuff.
Mhm.
There are gonna be times for that, but I think there's a healthy way to do that. I mean,
Mhm.
hopefully, God willing, there's a healthy way to do that. It always is really hard when you have to cut something, you know, cut and dry type of stuff, but
Mhm.
I don't think I think that's the exception, not the rule.
Right.
And, I don't know, I think it really does come down to, like, quitting culture, like,
Yes.
you really want to not work through this.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing, and,
Yeah.
like, also, it is a lot of the flesh type of stuff. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna lie, there's times when I wanna block Chris.
I'm done with you. You share a house, you share a life. You know what? You know what? Not today.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm like, I would never actually do it.
Chris, if you're listening, I swear you're not blocked.
I love you. That's so big. No, but I'm saying, like, that's such like, that's always the cop out. Like, I laugh
Mhm.
at myself every time I think about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Dang, I'm so bad." I'm like, "Ah, this is" you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such a cop out, like if this is somebody you really wanna have a relationship with in terms of friendship or even romantically, whatever that looks like, navigate it the right way.
Yeah.
Now navigate yourself the right way,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Yeah, no, no, really, and kind of on the topic of, like you said, caring for yourself the right way, doing things for yourself the right way. A big part of loving people is being intentional about the way you steward your own life. And so, you do, in order to love others well, you have to be filled up before you pour into them. And that's a huge why behind this podcast. That's a huge part of the reason why I started it, is for people to be encouraged and built up and poured into, so they're not pouring from an empty cup. What would you say, and I'm sure, like me, this changes in different seasons of life.
Yeah.
What would you say right now in the season of life is what fills you up?
I really do try to have it well-rounded in terms of body, mind, and spirit type of
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm lacking in sleep, that's not gonna fill me up. If I'm not working out, if I'm not feeding my body in terms of, like, food and stuff, that's ultimately gonna push back my mind.
Right.
And if my mind is not good, how am I supposed to carry myself spiritually?
Right. It's all connected.
It's all connected. If I'm spiritually unwell, am I really going to be getting the rest I need?
Right.
I will be up all night,
Mhm.
doom scrolling,
Yep.
watching TV mostly.
Yeah.
I love watching TV, but if I'm not taking care of those, I'm not gonna be filled.
Yeah.
And I think that's been, like, a huge thing for me is just really taking care of myself in terms of, like, almost I love being a little bit boring.
Yep.
Yeah, and you get it.
I get it.
I love that Kyla gets this. She and I have had conversations about this, like,
We are old
yeah,
ladies.
but, like, let me live a little, but also
Mhm.
let me not,
There's a ti there's a time and place.
Yeah.
It's like the standard for your life is to be a little boring. Are there exceptions? Sure. Every once in a while, go out, have fun with your people, but just living a slow, boring, but healthy life. It's healthy.
Yeah, and you probably get it too if you're working with people for a lot. It's beautiful and it's wonderful, but at the same time, we do need to take, like, "You know what? Babe, let's just go fishing."
Mhm.
You know, I've yet to catch anything, so
But you'll
it's
go.
just a peace of mind when you're outside.
Yeah. No, it really
Type of
is.
stuff, like, you're gonna do something with your mind, just rest it,
Mhm.
and in that, you'll get rest.
Yeah.
In your spirit, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, you have to feed that too.
Right.
When was the last time you read the Bible? When was the last time you heard worship music?
Right.
I'm super stressed. My mind is going crazy. I can't even find words to pray because I'm
Yeah.
so tense.
Mhm.
Listen to worship music.
Yeah.
I'm feeling lost, like I have no answers. Like, just read a proverb, like
Yeah.
just jump in some that's like the
Yep.
easiest jump in book of the Bible.
Yeah.
How is your daily bread?
That's so good.
No.
Yeah.
That's so important in terms of, like and I know I'm not the only one. I mentioned earlier to Kyla, I have really bad retention in terms of what I listen to. It just comes in one ear and out the other. I'm like, "You might have to ask me a question twice." But, my retention's not good, but that's why we need our daily bread.
Yep.
Because then you can listen to that for that day and read it
Yeah.
for that day. But we as humans, like, I know not everybody's like this, but I know I am
Yeah.
in terms of
Yeah.
I need to do this every day because if I don't, what happened yesterday? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, no, that's such a fair point too, and even just in the practical side of it, like, when we talk about reading your word and studying your word and, like, letting it really, like, sit on your heart, that doesn't mean read that proverb once and move on and never go back to
Yeah,
it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
the Lord's word was designed to stand the test of time, so it's not like you're gonna read it and that proverb's only gonna work for that day and you're never gonna have any like, it's I was oh my gosh, I don't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to I think it was, like, in a group that I was in, like, a few weeks ago, and I was talking to them about just, like, my favorite verses that I like to go back to in times of comfort, and it's so cool how you'll read something one time and you'll be like, "Oh, yeah, that's great," and then later on, you'll go back to it, or it will find you, and you're like, "How did I not?" Yes, like, "How did I not see this
Yeah.
before?" And so it's so true, like, you have to go back to it, and you have to it is your daily bread. You have even if it means like for me, I know there have been seasons of my life where I'm not going through a Bible reading plan and I'm struggling and I all I have is this one scripture that is carrying me through every day. But that one scripture is carrying me through every single day. And God's not mad about that. It's not like he's like, "Oh, well you're not memorizing the other, 65 books of the Bible, then, failure. What's wrong with you?" Like he who are you? No, like, it's all about your seasons and what you need in that time, and so, if you are just reflecting and memorizing and really holding on to one section of scripture, the Lord is so much more pleased with that than you just mindlessly going like you said, like, not retaining it. It's just going in one ear, out the other, like, to actually sit and meditate on it and let it feed you. Yes, we need that quiet time.
Big hack of mine that especially in busy seasons, like, I love this because not Chris and I do this because we go to work the same place
Mhm.
every single day. Some days, depending on our schedule, it might be different, but, it still remains the same in terms of, like, we go to work, and on that whole car ride, we listen to the Bible in terms of, like, just putting it on speaking,
I love that.
and that's a good and we're just quiet the whole time. We just listen to it, like, "Well, what book of the Bible do I listen to this time? What" and it's, like, our routine, and I think the more it regulates us,
Yeah,
you know? And I think there's things in our lives, like, life can be crazy, but there needs to be one routine that you have that's a big rock,
I love that.
you know?
Yes.
A big rock of ours is just, like, putting that on.
Mhm.
You know, like, we have a whole routine with the dogs and getting ready, grabbing lunch, and then, every single day is the same, and then going in the car, turning that on. And there's days where we're like, "You know what? We need worship music today."
Yeah,
It might be a little bit different, but ultimately, we're listening to the Bible. And then from there, I'm like, "Dang, that's actually crazy." And he's like, "You know what? That actually is crazy." You know, like, we'll listen to
yeah,
"Dang, I don't remember that. I don't
yeah,
remember either," you know? But we've heard these books of the Bible, like, millions of times, you know?
right, yeah,
And then we're like, "Wait, I do not remember hearing that at
yeah.
all." But I don't know.
That's awesome. I love that. Now, on the topic of Chris, let's move into what I'm sure a lot of people are waiting for because Valentine's Day, you always think of romantic love, and I'm obsessed with you guys, as I know a lot of people are. So we're gonna move into a little bit about your relationship with your husband. So you don't have to go into the whole story, but maybe talk a little bit about how you guys met, how you connected, and then how you kind of were like, "Oh, wait, this is the person that I'm like that the Lord wants me to be with."
Guys, I'm over here a little sweat.
She's nervous. Chris, you still make her nervous. You still give her butterflies.
I love this and everybody's marriage, I love, like, this story, you
Mhm.
know, like,
Yeah, I do too.
how was this meet cute, you know? Like,
Yeah.
what happened, you know? But my story is my favorite. It's just an unbiased opinion. Oh
Well,
my
your
gosh.
story is my favorite, and I am unbiased, so
Okay. So I actually knew who Chris was when I was a kid. I thought he was so cool, but that was pretty much the extent of it. Like, so
Yeah.
we started going to our church for the city.
Mhm.
Back then was Calvary Temple of Christ when I was about 9 years old.
Yep.
I was in the fourth grade. I believe he said his family sat right behind me. So he knew who we were too.
Mhm.
But I just remember he was super cool. He's super quiet, stoic guy.
He's mysterious.
He and his sister, like, were kind of like a dynamic duo. They
Mhm.
would do worship together.
Yeah.
Play the little cajon thing, and she would sing. I would It's so crazy thinking back on it. It's, like, surreal because I remember, like, knowing his name, and that was, like, the extent. I
Mhm.
didn't even know her name. I, like, christened his sister. And
Mm.
then later, so we left when I was about 7th grade, and then I came back by myself to church for the city when I was a senior in high school. And that's a whole 'nother story
Yeah.
in itself, but I became really close friends with his sister. He wasn't even in town at this time. He didn't come like, I was friends with his sister for a couple years before he came back.
Oh, wow.
And then I was friends with his brothers, and then I'll go to their house. His sister and I would sing together, just hang out. We were good friends. And then I find out Christopher is moving back into town.
Christopher.
Christopher.
Full name.
Yeah. You know, his whole family calls him Christopher. All of us call him Chris.
What? I didn't know that.
Call him Babe.
Well, okay, I'm not gonna call him that, don't you worry.
No, but Christopher's a book, and I've always loved that name ever
Mhm.
since I was a kid. I'd have a list of baby names, and Christopher was always on it. Anyways, side story.
That's so cute. I love that.
They're like, "Hey, Christopher's coming back to town." He lives in Tucson, and, like, he was working at a TV station over there, and I was just doing my thing at the church, and I actually did have a bad relationship before Chris, and
Mm.
he had a couple bad relationships before me.
Gotta kiss them
But,
frogs.
yeah, and the one I had was actually pretty bad, and I wanna say because my birthday's in November, we broke up on my birthday, and the very next year, if it wasn't in January or February, it was around that time,
Mhm.
a pastor from the church and I had already been prophesied over for a husband, which shortly afterwards when I got in that really bad relationship, I think I just really
Mm.
misconstrued it, and,
Yeah.
um, I'll talk about that a little bit later, but,
Yeah.
I heard he's moving back to town, and they were kind of nervous. One of the boys was like, "I'm gonna have to give up my room," and, like, all the sibling stuff,
Yeah.
Ah, but they're also really excited because everybody loved him. He came back into town, was not in a good place,
Mm.
and I remember at that time, I was looking around. I was 20, 21 years old. I wanna say I was probably about 20 years old. I was about 20 years old, obviously prime dating age,
Right.
and looking around, looking at the guys, I wasn't, like, super f like, I wasn't shopping or anything like that, but, just went out.
Yeah.
I would always do this thing with God, and I would after high school, I would just every time I had a slight interest in somebody, I got really brokenhearted in high school. I was like, I don't ever want that to happen again. I hated that. It was horrible. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna ask you, God, like, can I marry this person? Every person I even have the slightest interest in.
Mm.
If I'm not gonna marry them, what's the whole point?
Right.
Like for me, I was so sick of that. I was just not gonna waste time. Didn't want to waste any time. Unfortunately, I did not do that with the bad relationship.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned, but I felt like I would clearly hear yes or no, you know?
Mhm.
To where I mean, and I'm saying I felt like, but it was.
Yeah.
Fast forward, like I would just be meeting this guy. It's like, no, 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 that type of stuff. I see him at church. I give him a word. But before any of that, when I knew he's coming home, I would tell myself, like that's not his brother. Don't even think about looking at him.
Oh.
Like I don't wanna do that. Like, that's
Yeah.
weird, that's, like,
Yeah.
gypsy code,
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I actually didn't like him when I first met him, and he came to town, I gave him a
Like,
word.
intentionally?
No, I both, I just didn't
You
it
just
wasn't a interest
you
in him, I
just
just,
you you
like
just resented him.
I just hated him, actually.
So, I am thinking this was like a friends to lovers. This was like an enemies to lovers type thing.
No, I just was, like, not interested at
Yeah.
all, and also part of that was because I in my mind was like, "Nah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it." I gave him a word, and I said, "The Lord is tell like, he wants you to know that you're supposed to be here."
Mm.
And he just nodded at me. Back then, he was super dry, and he was like, "Thanks." And I was like, "Cool." And at that time, I had short pink hair, like,
Mhm.
he told me he saw this square walk up to him. He's like, "Who's this girl?" Like, literally, he said, "Who's this square?" Like, apparently, I was super snooty or something, but, I was like, "Hey, we're gonna be friends already," and I know it, That was me.
And he's like,
He's like,
"Ugh."
"Get over Um, and he also did not like the word I gave him because he
Oh.
didn't wanna be there. He
Oh.
didn't wanna come back home,
Yeah.
but he had to, like,
Yeah.
he wasn't doing well mentally and all
Mhm.
that stuff. Then we start leading with each other. We started doing, like, a life group,
Mhm.
with the youth kids. We
Mhm.
were youth leaders together,
Mhm.
and it was my friend Denise, Chris, and myself, and so we're the 2 girls, he was the boy. Denise said she knew. Denise said she
Really?
knew. Shout out to Denise.
Shout out Denise.
Yeah, and,
She just be knowing.
she just be knowing. But she said, like, "You know what? I thought so," I knew he started liking me. He'd hit on me all the time. And
Really?
he's one of those guys, and I was the same way, I can't really say one of those guys, but if he likes you, he's mean to you type of thing.
Oh, okay.
And I was really mean back, and, it was just kinda
Yeah.
fun, we're just bantering back and
Yeah.
forth. And then and then he started, like, just kinda texting me, like, "Hey, what are you doing today?" I was not about that.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
not about that because I was like, "You know what? That would've been nice if you told me in person."
Yeah,
And he
that's
would
fair.
text me like, "Hey, you look really nice today."
Mhm.
Don't text me that unless you're gonna say it in person. And then
Wow.
he started getting really nervous about that.
Oh, no.
So,
Well, and
he was
he's
like
kinda, like, shy
yeah,
too,
but back
so
then he was sassy, and
okay.
I knew he liked it because he stopped. He stopped he started getting really nervous,
Oh my
and, like,
gosh.
then one day he's like, "You look nice." I'm like, "Thank you."
In person?
Yeah,
Aw.
and I was like, Cool." But I knew he started liking me. I can read that kinda stuff,
Yeah.
you know? And then he started getting more and more awkward with me, and I was like, at this time, there was another guy that was talking to me, and I
Mhm.
and I really had to pray back and forth because they were both, like, really, quote, unquote, "good"
Yeah.
Christian guys,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Lord, help me with this," and Ty knew he knew the whole time that Chris liked me, and he didn't say anything, but one day, I would say 2 days, maybe 1 day after I asked the Lord, "Hey, Lord, would I be able to marry him?" And at this time, I still didn't fully like him. I
Mhm.
just was asking,
Yeah.
like I always did. And now I was like, "Yeah, yeah." I heard, "Yeah, you could probably marry him." And I was like, "Okay, then you're gonna have to make me attracted to him because I still am not, like, fully attracted to him yet."
Yeah.
The next day or 2 days later, I kid you not, Ty and I go to a high school to go talk to the high school students over there, and he was like, "Hey, you should marry him." And I just laughed, and I'm like, "What makes you say that?" I didn't tell him about what I had already heard. I was, like, trying to keep my expectations low.
Mhm. Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, like, I mean, maybe, just trying to, like,
Yeah.
backtrack a little bit, like,
Yeah.
"Well, he's a good guy, this and this."
See, I don't trust his opinion because he's told me that about, like, 3 different guys, and I'm like, "You need to make up your mind about who my husband is."
Yeah, but, I had also gotten, I didn't say how I got
Y
prophesied over
you had
another time, and he
you
said
had kinda touched on it, and then you said you were gonna circle back to it.
okay. So at that time, right before Chris had moved back, I heard, a pastor from our church came, he said and he kinda does this kinda stuff, like I
Yeah.
said, like, "You're gonna find your husband,"
Yeah.
but he's like, "Hey, you're gonna find your husband this year." And in my head, I'm like, "Uh-huh, ha you're just saying that, ha, ha, ha." And he's like, "Are you in a relationship?" And I said, "Actually, I just got out of one." He said, "Praise God, you're gonna find a husband." And I was like, "Cool." I laughed and I was like, "That's so funny." Whatever. It ended up happening.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that was the craziest thing is that I realized way later, I remembered that,
Oh, wow.
like, all that kinda stuff, which I'm not trying to say, like, that happens every time,
Right.
but it was, like, over and over again.
Yeah.
I was getting, like, these confirmations over and
Mhm.
over again, and we're just talking about Ty and I are just talking about the pros and cons about both the guys,
Yeah.
just typical girl
Yeah.
stuff.
He's just one of the
One of the
girls.
girls, and, at that time, Chris started working back at the TV station here. Then he started working at the church. And what ultimately really did it for me was after a lot of praying, a lot of like, I was so very neutral. Like, I wasn't super flirty. I would answer, like, we were friends. I was friends with
Right.
guys, like, I was not feeding into anything in terms
Mhm.
of like romantically. I was on the market. I mean, what can you say?
Yeah. You're a single girl. You're a free bird.
What really got me was I saw him worship. And also, like, I knew what I needed. I know I'm called to a life of ministry, whether I'm working there or not. I know I'm called for that.
Yeah.
I've known that since I was a kid.
Mhm.
And I could not be in a place in a marriage where my husband wasn't.
Yeah.
There's just no way. Like, that would be the most heartbreaking thing and the most not I don't wanna say useless, but for me and what I wanted, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna do this alone.
Yeah.
I need somebody that can run with me, you
Right.
know? And I remember seeing him in the front worshiping the Lord, and I was like, "That's it." And it wasn't from a place of some people worship and it's almost a little bit, like, showy,
It's performative.
performative, but he was, like, worshiping with his heart, and
Mhm.
if anybody knows Chris, he's not a showy person.
No,
So I was like,
he's
"This
not.
this man is obsessed
Yeah.
with it," you know?
Yes.
And that in that moment, I had no doubt that, "Okay, I'm gonna be with this guy." But I still was like, this is, like, gonna sound the craziest thing. I still wasn't fully attracted to him yet.
Really?
Yeah. Chris liked me and he liked me, and I asked him about this yesterday, like, "Did you, like, actually like me from the beginning?" And he's all, "Nah, yeah, yeah, I liked you pretty much the same." And he said, "My love for you was a standard."
Uh-huh.
Like, whether that fluctuates in looks like in terms of, like, seasons,
Mhm.
the love is a standard.
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, that's a cool way to put it."
Yeah.
He knows, though, that I was still, like my parents were going through divorce.
Mm.
I came from that broken home. Like, I truthfully didn't really see my parents like each other
Yeah.
most of my life.
Yeah.
So, I was really afraid of a lot of that kinda stuff.
Mhm.
Even to the point where one time and this is so not me, but I was in such a point of brokenness where I was like when Chris and I were dating, I'm like, "Hey, do you wanna get married or do you just wanna, like, be like this forever?" And
Wow.
that's so not me.
Yeah.
And he said, "Absolutely not, we're gonna get married." And
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay," like, that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But I was just such in a place where I was like, "This is what if we fail?"
Right.
And I think that was in my head for a
Mhm.
lot of it. And, like, what if he doesn't end up loving me, that type
Right.
of stuff. And more I think more, I was like, "What if I don't end up loving him?" Like,
Mm.
and I'm just, like, I was really afraid of what that could look like.
Right.
And at the end of the day, attachment issues, whatever you
Yeah.
call it,
Yeah.
but I had to that was probably the biggest leap of faith I ever had to have.
Wow.
I don't know, that's, like, a lot of what Chris and my story is, but after we got married, I one of the things I know you're gonna probably end up asking, like,
Mhm.
how is that how oh, shoot, I don't remember. I'm jumping ahead, but
You're okay.
my love for him has grown to a point where I didn't even know it was possible.
Oh,
And, like, that is such a hard not a hard thing to say, but it's a hard thing to know because you won't know it
right.
until you get there. And people are like, "It's" you'll hear this every time, "Marriage is so hard, but it's so worth it." And there's no words to even say what it is.
Yeah.
There's times when I hate my life. But there's times when I'm like, "You're my best friend in the whole wide world, and I
Yeah.
never wanna be with, like, even a friend, like, I never wanna be with anybody besides you." Like
I love
and
that.
we're very I say codependent. He probably won't say that, and because it's more me, which is saying a lot. Because I was very Miss Independent, like,
Mhm.
"I don't need you, I don't need your help, I don't need you to pay my bills, I don't need you this, I don't need that." I'm very independent, and I
Mm.
had to become solely dependent on like, I have to be able to rely on this person,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
sharing that is so intimate, so terrifying,
Mhm.
so horrible,
Yeah.
like, you have to knock all of your walls
Talk about dying to yourself.
dying to yourself every single day.
Yep.
That's the
Wake
hardest
up,
thing.
die to yourself, go to bed, die to yourself.
Oh my gosh, where were we when we were talking about that? Do you remember? We were at a party. Was it with candy?
Pro Yes,
Yes, yes,
yes,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
sacrifice
We were
it
at
takes.
Kayla's Christmas party.
Yeah, the sacrifice it takes for marriage is like not like anything you'll ever see, but
Mhm.
I mean, no, or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it is like, man, this person is my best friend.
Mhm.
I didn't know I could have a best friend like this. And like she'll tell
I
me all the
love it.
time, we're like going to bed. He's like, "You're my best friend." I'm like, "Yeah,
Aw.
my friend, my friend." I was
I love that. So yeah, you did kinda talk about how your love has grown since you've gotten married, and now it's like I can see, of course, for me, I'm single, and so I'm not in that position where I can fully understand it, but I can see how it goes from just having love for this person to, like, they are your life, not in, like, a weird, like, obsessive, I can't do anything on my own type of way, but, like, you're codependent because you're sharing a life, you're sharing
unified under Christ.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
What Chris said yesterday. He's like, we made a covenant under God,
yeah.
and we're unified in Christ.
Right, and there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that. I do wanna ask, because you did kinda talk about how you guys work together and everything, how do you guys protect your love and, like, guard your love in the challenges of everyday life, like, things like working together, you talked about leading together, financial stressors, excuse me, and, like, even just little, like, differences of opinion, like, how do you guys maintain and, like, pursue that love every single day, even when those everyday life things come up?
So Chris and I are very different, personality wise, but there are things that we have adopted from each other which helps a lot. Our big rocks are the same,
Okay.
so that is ultimately what helps us.
Mhm.
Our big rocks are the same in terms of our relationship with God, our relationship with our friends, and our relationship with each other. And there are things that are very different from each other, but honestly, that helps us a lot in terms of how we navigate those seasons.
Yeah.
We have a whole like I said, we have a whole routine when it comes to, so we it's like almost like I've heard this before and it's a good way to put it, but also, it's like a serving battle. We are constantly serving each other.
I love
We're
that.
trying to outserve each other, but also just really we're a team.
Mhm.
We're a team
You
through and
are.
through. But there is hard things, like, even financial stressors, like, we just have to constantly reaffirm each other, like, God has a plan for us, this isn't forever.
Right.
Or even like, "Hey, we just have to be smart." Like, it's just healthy communication, which
Yeah.
we're gonna be working through for the rest of our lives. Like,
Right.
as a human to human,
Yep.
no matter how close we are, we're gonna be having communication problems at some point or another, you know?
Yep.
Like, so that's gonna be a working thing that we have until we die.
Yeah.
But, that's a big thing.
Can I talk a little bit, or can we touch on, the out-serving each other thing?
Yeah.
Because I think that's so crucial, and I think it's in this day and age, the word serve it's people kind of cringe at it almost because there is that just sense of, like, you can be independent, you don't have to have a partner, all these different things. And so the idea of serving someone, especially in a marriage where you have a covenant with them, a lot of people don't like that. And they even I was it's crazy. I actually do sometimes learn a lot from TikTok. It's not all just doom scrolling, but I saw just this TikTok about this relationship and how they were they were talking about just actively serving each other, and how sometimes we're so quick to jump to as he should, or like like if say Chris shows up and like makes you breakfast in the morning because you were up really late, a lot of people would say as he should, but like that is him making that sacrifice. And so it's that you not just die to yourself, you really have to like kill that pride and kill that sense to provide for yourself, do it for yourself, and even have that expectation that someone would show up for you. And so I really love how you talked about it's a constant battle to outserve each other. That is the best way. I mean, from I don't, of course, have a lot of experience in marriage, but that is something that as a young single woman, that is something I'm looking for in a future relationship. And I think it's both something that I'm sure you guys struggle with and have to remind yourself to do sometimes, but I also want it to be an encouragement because I think part of that does come naturally to the both of you because servanthood is your life. Like, you are giving your life to the church. Both of you guys. I mean, you both work at the church and you're both in ministry, and that is service. That is your daily, like, I think about it sometimes. I'm like, I show up on a Sunday and I'm like, dang, I have to serve 3 services. And I'm like, I don't even work for the church. Like, people, people do, like, you guys get there at like 30 minutes to an hour before we do. You're staying, I don't even know how much later than we leave. I know after third service, I'm like, I'm getting my car by 1. That's for sure. But you guys are there, making sure everything gets put away, set up for the next day, and then you show up and you do it again the next day. And so I also want that to be sort of an encouragement to you guys is like I said, I'm sure that you have to fight for that in your marriage, but both of you just serve people so well, and it's just something that people see that comes from your heart. And I think that's the beautiful part about having a a true relationship that is founded on Christ. And because you guys are not the only ones I see like that, like Elisa and Freddie, they serve the church and people so well, and they serve each other so well. And so at the same time, I want that to be like an encouragement to you guys. Like, it's an example. It's an example to other people.
And what's really important too is really even just not even just the spiritual, but like knowing each other's love languages is so important to us.
Yeah.
He has it a little bit harder because when I took the test, almost all of them were exactly the same.
Oh, God.
You have to love me in every way you
In
can.
every way possible, every day.
Words, give me hugs, like all at the same time.
I feel like I'm kind of like that though. Like, I know that there's some that, like, when I took the test, which that was years ago, so I think I probably need to take it again because I know it's shifted.
Yeah.
But I feel like for me, when I think about, like, what is my main love language, I'm like, all of them. I want, like you said, like,
Give me gifts,
get
also,
gifts,
don't
but
forget to tell me nice things.
and make sure you hold my hand, but also don't forget to cook me breakfast in the morning.
So, poor guy.
All the things.
Yeah.
And he's so gentle and humble in spirit. Thank God you have him.
Poor guy. He's like, can I try? I'm like,
But you didn't tell me that you wanted to do it because you loved me.
how does that fit in my mail?
No, I get it, because I am that. I'm like, no, I'm not. One is not going to be better than the other. I need it all. It's all or nothing. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not in any way, shape, or form like an extremist, but in that maybe I am, maybe just a little bit.
Which is poor guy. But I think that's a big thing with us, and is knowing each other's love languages and serving each other well in that.
Yes.
So like I know his love languages, he knows mine.
Mhm.
And when we were first together, it changed drastically.
Really?
I used to hate physical touch, and his number one was physical touch. So he tried to hold my hand, and I'm like,
Get away.
yeah, get away. That type of stuff. Like, I didn't like it at all.
Mm.
And then, like, after we get married, I love it.
Yeah.
Give me hugs, give me kisses, give me all it,
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know, it's changed so much, but even, so that was the nice thing about, like, premarital. I think, honestly, I think everybody should take premarital
Yeah.
because they were even talking to us about boundaries when it comes to our families
Mm.
and, like, boundaries with each other.
Yeah.
And there was some stuff I did not wanna hear, and I'm sure there's stuff that Chris did not wanna hear,
Yeah.
But it's like, this is the ugly truth of, like, how hard it can be,
Right.
And then we'd have to, like, every now we still revert back to some of the stuff they've told us.
Right.
But I don't know, a lot of it's also navigating on your own and see
Mhm.
what that looks like, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, I do wanna ask, before we get off the subject of, like, romantic love, I do wanna ask, and I'm sure this changes, what right now do you think is your favorite thing about Chris?
I think it has and always probably will be his servant's heart.
Mm.
He sees how important that is, and I think
Yeah.
it's wonderful for me to see just his character
Yeah.
just bloom through that.
Yeah.
Believe it or not every guy is a hard worker.
No, I know. There's some lazy bums out here.
Lazy bums out here.
Yep.
And just hearing the fruit of his labor, like,
Mm.
even from people in the office, like, always, like, every time we need help, he gets up in a moment.
Mhm.
He knows the importance of what he does and, like,
Mm.
how if they need his help, they're asking him for a reason.
Right.
Or, like which can be sometimes, like, "Don't let them use you." No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Not
Say
talking about
no.
just people in general,
Yeah.
not saying, like, work or anything like that, but
Right.
he's just a very helpful person,
Mhm.
and he helps me. I'm like, "Hey, can you help me with this?" Like, he probably hears that all day from me. "I need your help with this. I need your help with" Access service is one of my greatest. Like, it's
Yeah.
even though they're all pretty tied,
Yeah.
that one's pretty high up there.
Yeah.
Partially because I was very much a do it myself type of person.
Right.
So when I take that wall down, it's down,
Yeah.
you know?
It's not going back up.
Yeah, it's not going back up. Um, so he helps. He has such a helpful heart, and he just will do anything he needs to make it done well, you know?
I think too, and this is just like coming from like the outside in, obviously you know Chris very, very well. But in my perspective of Chris, I do see that, but he's also so kind. Like
He's a nice person.
he's so not like I remember there was one time I was like I think I had like COVID or something and I was super, super sick. And this is like one of my favorite Chris stories. And there was not, I mean, people like kind of knew that I had COVID, but I think like at the time it was still kind of like couldn't really talk about it. You just kind of disappeared for 7 days and then you came back alive. But I remember, I think Chris knew either that like I had COVID or he knew I was sick. And he sent me, and like, I mean, I love Chris, but like we're not super close, you know? And we've gotten closer over time. But at the time, like, I didn't really have like a lot of conversations with him. And he sent me like a personal text message and he was like, "Do you want, like, soup? Like, do you want me to bring you Gatorade or anything?" I was like I think I, like, started crying. I was
Oh my gosh, that
like,
was very
he no,
sad.
it was just, like,
He's
so
just such a loving
he
person.
is, he's so and like you said, like, that servant's heart, like,
Yeah,
it's just so natural for him to say, like, "How can I help?" And,
yeah,
you know, I like you said, I mean, he hears it all the time, and, you know, I'm sure there's a million people who are asking him for things, but he just does it so well, and, like, that really stuck out to me because that's, like it's not like he's doing that just for, like, his best friend
yeah.
or, like, his sister, like, that's just the way he is with people. But I also think that's, like that's the way you are with people, like, the way that Chris is so good at, like, serving others, the way you make people feel seen
Mm,
just so naturally, like, it's a gift, and it's, like it's so cool, like, the Lord would partner 2 people like that together. So, Chris, we love you, man.
love you, man.
Chris, you're the greatest. I hope you're listening
Love
to
you, my
this.
guy.
We love you. I do want to, as we're closing, I want to transition into the last kind of love that we're going to talk about, which is loving yourself, or rather than like loving yourself, because I know that's kind of like that term even is like kind of like controversial in the Christian world. I really would kind of like to refer to it as like having a healthy self esteem
Yeah.
around your identity as a child of God. So, what would you say is a good way we can learn to love ourselves without becoming self-obsessed or self-centered?
Something I was actually asking Chris about this because I was like, this is a hard one, but at the same time, it's so good for the time that we live in. A lot of what we are seeing, a lot of what we're being filtered to think, and it's really easy to, is just like the culture of like in my me era.
Mm,
Or what's the other one that they say a lot? I can't remember what it is. It's the other phrase that people say when they're talking about their own self growth.
mm,
It's not always about that.
right.
I think you can have a pretty healthy relationship with yourself, but also be self sacrificial.
That's really good.
I think a lot of what I think we are called to be servants of the house, servants of the Lord,
Yeah,
and it's not always about us.
yeah.
And I think no matter how hard our life can be, a big part and a big way to get out of that mindset is just to pray for people. Like,
Ooh,
just
that's
even,
good.
not even just that, but just like, wow, today was really hard.
Mm,
And I've had a hard 6 months. I've been in a funk. I've been in depression. Like, and I'm saying this like, could be me. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
but then at the same time, it's like, what are you grateful for?
Mm,
if we are living in a constant state of gratitude, then it's really hard to be prideful, and
That's
it's
so
very
true.
hard to be self-absorbed, self-obsessed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we forget in terms of even just talking to others and living in community with others or discipling others. Like, God pulled me out of the muck and the mire, and He continues to do so every single day.
Yeah.
But I am made whole. I am made whole, and I'm holy, and
Mhm.
I am thriving right now. Or, like, whatever that
Yeah.
looks like, like, I
Yeah.
am thriving right now, but that's not for me to keep to myself. Like, we're
Right.
not made to be a light under a bushel. Like, we're
Mhm.
not.
Right.
So why would we, like, I don't know. I think it is good to work on yourself constantly,
Mhm.
but not for yourself. Like,
Right.
like,
That's good.
what are we doing with it? What's the fruit of it? Like,
Yeah.
if we just have the seeds and we're just holding them close to our heart, then nobody can share with the fruit?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, that's all really good. I know you did actually already kind of touch on how you're really intentional about, taking care of your mind, body, spirit, how it's all kind of, connected. What would you say has changed the way you view yourself now that since you became a Christian and as you're growing in your faith, how has that shifted how you look at yourself in the
Mm.
mirror?
In the mirror. Oh,
I
that's
mean, in general, but I mean, yeah, in the mirror, let's talk about it.
that's something I'm still trying to navigate through,
Mhm.
if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I've fluctuated a lot in the way I've looked in the past 4 years, 5 years,
Mhm.
6 years, like, I look back on 3 years from now, like, I look completely different. So I think I have a little bit of that, like, almost imposter syndrome, like, "Who am I looking at?"
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I
type
get
of
that.
thing. But I think if I'm taking care of myself, if I am really making the strides to do so, and
Mhm.
I can't something my mom used to say, like, "Look at yourself in the mirror and then forget what you look like."
Mm.
And sometimes that was good, sometimes a bad thing, like, I would
Right.
forget, "Oh, I am a pretty girl,"
Yeah. Yeah.
that type of stuff, like, I would forget about that because I
Mhm.
would forget what I look like, type of
Right.
thing. I don't even know if that's is that even biblical? I don't even know.
I mean, it's practical.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's practical, and I would say that honestly is a part of guarding your mind,
Yeah,
is just, you don't have to obsess over it. You shouldn't
yeah.
obsess over it. It's not healthy to obsess
Yeah,
over it.
and I think a part of that is, like, don't obsess about what you wear or what
Mhm.
you eat type of
Yeah.
thing, the Lord will always take care of you.
Yeah.
So, but me, I am a very, like, fashion person, I love
Mhm.
to think about all that kinda stuff,
Yeah.
but to me, if I can live through live in my what I'm wearing in terms of, like, not have to worry about it, I don't like obsessing over, like,
Right.
how things fit,
Mhm.
I just wanna wear it and be free, like, if
Yeah.
it's cute along the way, that's absolutely wonderful and
Right.
will light up my day, but
Yep.
at the same time, like you said, guarding my heart in that,
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I don't know, I think there's been seasons of just really tough times in terms of how I view myself, but at the same time, it doesn't it's only situational, you
Right.
know? I don't know, it's been an interesting journey when it comes to that.
And I mean, it is a journey.
Yeah,
That's the thing that I try to tell my students, when they're struggling with the way that they see themselves.
yeah,
I have to remind them, it's I as much as we wish that we could just be set free
yeah.
and, never have that struggle again,
It's a journey.
that's not the reality of
Yeah.
anything in our walk with Christ or
Yeah.
anything in life. But, I mean, at the same time, you're gonna have your ups and downs, and that's normal. I would say for me, and this is a constant battle, but something that I will say, has helped me a lot, especially transitioning into adulthood, is giving myself grace, and that
Yeah,
doesn't come from me knowing I deserve it, but that directly stems from my
yeah,
relationship with God. I mean, even, giving myself grace in the way my body looks and in giving myself grace in, even just like my habits or a meal or, my hair sits or even just in the things that I say and the things I do. In every step of the way, I'm working on, and like you said, it's a constant journey, but I'm really working on giving myself grace because I think one of the hardest things for us to remember is, there's constant grace for us, and
yeah,
it's from the Lord, and
yeah.
so if He can give us that grace, I
Mhm.
mean, and again, the things that we look at, the things that we critique ourselves on,
Yeah.
they're so insignificant to
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
When He looks at us, He doesn't see us as a body.
Mhm.
He doesn't look at us and see our weight. He doesn't see our
Yeah.
face shape. He doesn't see our hair color. He doesn't see our style. He sees past all those things. Those are such small, trivial, insignificant things to Him. But His grace is sufficient for us, and His grace is constantly being poured out for us. And it has nothing to do with the way that we look.
Yeah.
And just knowing that, I mean, I even if I'm just being honest, and I think this is something you can probably relate to because you like you said, you look back on where you were 5 years ago. I'm 23, almost 24, and I would say when I turned 22 was when I started to see the shift in my body. I mean,
Mhm.
I for the most part, I mean, obviously I'm pretty short, so, like, I wouldn't say my body had changed a lot from high school to, like, my early 20s, but then 22 was when I kind of 22 to 23 for sure, is when I kinda got, like, what they call, like, that second puberty,
Oh, yeah.
and I started to like, my hips were a little bit rounder and
Yeah, yeah,
and I was holding weight differently, not in, like, a bad way, but just differently, and,
yeah.
like, I would just notice
I'm
like
becoming a woman.
yes, and it's crazy because, like, I never really thought about that. I mean, honestly, like, since I'm short and I never grew, I think I just kind of assumed I was gonna have that body for the rest of my life,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Wait, like, it's true." Like, my body has changed so much since becoming a woman and transitioning into my
Yeah.
20s, and I still feel like, sometimes I'm like, "Oh," like, I'm just sometimes it honestly just depends on your day, and I think a huge part of
Yeah.
that is just understanding your body, especially as a woman. I'm a huge advocate for understanding your body and the
Oh,
makeup of
yeah.
your
Of
body,
course.
but that's a rabbit hole I won't go down because I have so many thoughts and so many words and so much experience in that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I do think, like I said, just giving your
Grace, yeah.
yes, grace, like not looking at my body and saying like, oh, I'm carrying my weight differently and my hips around her. Ugh, I hate that. But saying like that, I'm growing into womanhood. Like that's beautiful.
And I think, a big thing that's been happening in my life lately, well, it's so funny too that you said, second puberty too, because I was, a while ago, I was talking to Elisa about it, and she was like, "Well, you probably were just hitting your second puberty." I was like, "Oh, yeah." And she goes, "You're the one who told me about it." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh
yeah,"
yeah.
type of thing, but almost was like you said, like, I didn't even think that was gonna happen for some reason.
Yeah.
Obviously, there like you said, there's so many factors on how you could be looking, how you're looking, but
Right.
to me, what makes me feel the most healthy is if I it goes back to the body, mind, spirit type of stuff, like,
Absolutely.
am I feeding myself well?
Mhm.
Am I resting myself well?
Mhm.
Am I just doing, like, the bare minimum? Like,
Right.
I should be not just doing the bare minimum, you
Right.
know?
Mhm.
And I think that makes a big difference in how I feel. Like, right now, I feel great. I feel great. I've
Yeah.
been taking care of myself, I'm being healthy and, working out, but, not only that, but just because I can and I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Like, we take that for granted. Like, I was sick for, like,
100%.
2 months and, like, I'm like, "Dang, I really took for granted just being able to move," you
Yeah.
know? Um, I don't know. So I think that a lot of what you're saying is so good, and even just, like, the whole grace thing, like, hey, not everything's gonna look like what you look like when you open your phone.
Yeah.
That's everybody says this, but
Mhm.
it's so true. Not everything's gonna look like that.
Oh, yeah.
Look like that. You kinda don't
100%.
look like anybody actually you're
Yeah.
looking at, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
But
No, that's all really good, and I do think, just as we're wrapping up, it's so important to remember that in all of these different kind of, like, loves that we talked about, we talked about loving the Lord, loving others, loving a significant other, and then loving ourselves. There it's a process in all of it, and it's learned, but even just going back to the grace thing, there's grace in all of that,
yeah,
like, the Lord does not expect you to have a perfect love for people, and
yeah,
because that's his love, and
mhm,
so that's why it's so important that every day we're going to him and saying, "Lord, please make me look more like you, and let me experience your love and give that to other people." That's something I've been really praying on lately is, "Lord, just let me be an example of your love." Like, if I can
yeah,
just show one person your love today, then
mhm.
I feel like I've done my job. I do wanna ask, what out of these 4 areas of love that we talked about, which one do you think, you're not necessarily struggling with the most, but maybe the one that you need to tend to the most?
Mm, I feel like naturally I would say my love for myself.
Yeah.
because I think from that stems a lot of stuff and a lot of insecurities and
Yeah.
just self-hindrances.
Mhm.
Like, am I gonna let myself be hindered by myself?
Right.
That's pretty rough, you know?
Yeah. No, it's true. It's good. It's
So I think
good.
that's probably the biggest one. I will say I'm in a pretty good place, like, mentally, I mean, that could change from week to week, obviously, but,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
ultimately, life is wonderful, and
Mhm.
it's truly a blessing.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know, I think that's probably what I would say.
That's
Mhm.
good. I love that. Well, that's it. That's all we have for you guys today. Thank you, Miranda,
Of course.
for coming on the
Thank
podcast.
you.
I feel like I feel refreshed. So I'm sure that everyone listening is gonna
Yeah.
just be able to gain so much. And to everyone listening to this episode, I'm
Can
sure.
I ask you one question?
Okay.
Yep. No?
No, no, that's not on the script, Miranda. Yeah, sure.
Um, what is something, like, a key takeaway that you I guess from either this conversation
Mhm.
or even that you just come up with through this conversation?
Mhm.
Like, it kinda stimulates your mind into thinking,
Yeah.
like, "This is what I should be thinking about,"
Mhm.
Like, so what's something like a key takeaway for you that you have?
I would say probably I might have to explain this a little bit. I would say that love is active.
Yeah.
That love is active, and everything that we talked about, you have to be so intentional. Like,
Mm,
you can't get lazy, you can't just assume the love is gonna be there or that love is gonna grow on its own. Like,
mhm.
everything we talked about, loving a significant other, loving your husband, loving your sisters, loving your friends, loving people in your job, and even loving the Lord and allowing the Lord to love you, and, like, even having love for yourself, it's active. Like,
Yeah.
all of the stuff we talked about, it's decisions that you have to
Yeah.
make. It's not just, wake
It's
up
not
and
stagnant.
it's not stagnant. It's not just something where you just wake up and it's there and it's perfect and then you're done. Like, it's something that you have to work at every day. And I do want to add that in all of your relationships with people, don't let it be one-sided,
Yeah.
and so, I mean, I know I've touched on that a little bit on the podcast with how your love for the Lord and your relationship with him should never be one-sided because it tends to be more him loving us than we love
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
But even just in your relationships with people, if you're doing all these things, make sure that you're having the right people in your life that love you back too.
Yeah.
But I would really say that love is active, and
Yeah.
that's a challenge and something that I think can reflect on is how am I actively loving people? Like, actively, not just because I think, you get into a groove and you're like, whatever, I love you. Okay, I love you, whatever, whatever. But in reality, like, you can't assume that love is going to be maintained without effort.
Yeah.
So,
It's almost like, are you gonna let it be a habit or is it gonna be an active choice? Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
thank you for asking me. I was like, "Oh,
Oh, no.
where's
Oh,
this going?
no.
Where is this going? Sorry, gotta wrap it up." But no, this was awesome, and I feel like I can confidently say you're gonna be back. You're gonna be back. So I don't know what we're gonna talk about. Maybe we'll just hop on a mic and just start chatting. I don't know.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. And I know that this episode is gonna be very edifying to everybody. And thank you for just all your wisdom. I love you.
Love you too. Thank you
And
for
thank you
having
for
me.
everyone who just tuned in. I really believe that you guys are gaining so much from this conversation. And we prayed before this episode started. And I'm just really praying that this is an encouragement to everyone listening. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you love this episode and you want to hear more like it, make sure you hit follow, subscribe, like, add to library, whatever it is on whatever streaming platform you are listening from. Make sure you subscribe and you're following the podcast so you don't miss out on anything. Go ahead and open up Instagram too and follow the podcast Instagram. It is at the Pour Over Pod. So you can become a member of the Pop Fam. And I love you guys. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Tuesday.